I'm BJ Arnett, and this is BJA Today. I hope you are ready for a great time. Now, I need to tell you a little secret. I'm not in our regular studio. I left home. I'm not home. I am at the Branson Film Festival in Branson, Missouri, and I'm getting the opportunity to talk with some wonderful actors, starting with this lady. She is the one and only Juli. Juli, thank you so much for taking this moment for us to talk. We talk, we're girls, we talk. But this is, it's a little different because now I get to interview you and let people know what I know about you.
Well, thank you so much for having me, BJ. This is just a joy and a dream to be with you and just get you all to myself for a few minutes.
This is going to be fun. So I want to start with the many sides of Juli. Because as I've gotten to know you, I see so many different facets of you. People know you as a fantastic actress, but there's so much more to the many faces of who you are and what you do. Talk to us about this love of acting.
Well, I'm the youngest of 4 children, so I've been an actress my entire life.
Just to get through it, right?
Just to get through it. Right, exactly. And I was the entertainer in the family, so it just always came naturally to me. Humor is definitely my defense mechanism.
Yes.
And of course, I came to Branson 15 years ago.
Wow.
And started in this very theater, as a matter of fact, as my stage career, going professionally. But before I went professional show business at all, my husband and I had a house painting business.
Wow.
We now live on a farm and milk goats.
And I'm going to really talk about that. But, people always think that when you're an actor that is all you do. It's either feast or famine. That's all you do, or you do 500 things that you don't want to do in order to be an actor. Right. But with you, it's very different. You are an actor, but you're also a woman who is a wife, a mother, an entrepreneur, and those hands get dirty with the farm.
Yeah, they do.
and you have so many facets of your life to pull on when it comes to giving a story as an actor. As you've been able to move from project to project, what have you found the most valuable thing to center you to be ready to do a particular role?
That's an awesome question. Versatility, I would say, has
which
really
is
been,
of your life.
which really is my best friend. I mean, truly, of course, God purposes our steps, and He has prepared me for every single thing that I've been involved in, blessedly. I never would have thought that painting would lead to performing, would lead to farming, would lead to whatever else is could be on the future. But I'm open. Let's do it.
Let's do it.
I'm open.
When you came here 15 years ago, Branson was a very different place, was it not?
It was.
Or was it just emerging?
Well, it was kind of in its heyday, really. It was live entertainment capital of the world, and we still had Andy Williams.
Yes.
The Promise was here, which was a beautiful passion play. Very family friendly, which Branson still is.
Yes. It is.
I realize they're trying to be, I think the word is progressive, I think now is what they're saying. I don't,
which has its good and it's interesting.
It does. I mean, I'm a lover of all people. I don't care who you are, where you come from, really what you're into. I mean, I just love you because you're wearing skin. You know what I mean?
Because you're a person.
Right. And I feel like Branson is that way. We've really got something for everyone, and we want you to come. Just come see what we've got. You're going to have a good time,
In these 15 years, you've seen the changes in Branson. You've seen the changes in your own life. And you've seen your career shift and shift and shift. Almost, it just makes me think about morphing. It has really had its different levels. I first met you at a film festival. Yes. Of course, my husband knew you. He knows everybody. But I first met you at a film festival and thought, wow, she really has some interesting characters within the persona of Juli. But then I see you on screen, and Juli turns into a whole nother being. In those 15 years, in that walk of arriving here, how have you seen you change in the facets of the characters that you've played and the way that you move as an actor?
Wow. You're really good at this. These are such good questions. You know, morphine is a great word to use for that. You know, I'm a ham bone and a performer just because of defenses. You know, and so performing professionally was honestly never anything.
Your thing?
Never anything I wanted
See, I can't
or
even
sought
imagine.
to do. No, I'm in fact. I'm kind of shy. I'm a little bit like, don't look at me. You know, I mean, if you watch, I'll be around a corner or somewhere, unless I'm working, and then that's my job. But I just really wanted to be a wife and a mother. That was my dream, my only dream that I ever had.
Not a bad dream.
I thought it was a great dream. You know, well, my husband and I, had issues that we weren't able to have our own family, and the doors kept opening to perform, and God prepared me in children's worship. We would do skits and things, for the kids, and just as day to day went on, He just continued to open my heart to bigger things. I mean, to dream bigger than I ever have. And I honestly thought that the dreams I had yesterday were bigger than I ever had. And honestly, just sitting here talking to you, my dreams are even bigger still, because they're not my dreams. They're God's dreams.
They're God's dreams for you.
Right, absolutely. And like I said, I'm game. I'm a go-with girl. So, if God says, let's do it. I wasn't always that way. When He called me into full-time performance, it wasn't what I was seeking. So I dragged my feet. But now that I've gotten on board and I'm an obedient child, and I said, okay, we'll do it. He's taken me so many places.
Here's what's interesting. You've gotten on board now, but you recognize at some point you were dragging your feet. Mm-hmm. You were kicking and screaming. You were the disobedient child. You were the one saying, I can't. Mm-hmm.
I won't. That's how. I mean, it's even worse than that. I'm not doing it.
Some of that little Moses thing
it really was, and literally, I'm talk good.
I can't talk.
I'm not right. Yeah, I'm not. I'm not young. I'm not. Whatever excuses we want to give out physically, God knocked every single one of them down. And said, I don't care. That's not for you to worry about.
It's not your part. Mm-hmm. But what's interesting is it's a part of many people around the country. We are in a state in this place called these United States where fear and pullback and pushback for the things that are in your heart to be and to do are challenging most Americans today. When we come back, I want to talk about how you leap through the challenge, how you become fearless, how you take on those things that particularly scare you to death, but could be the very kind of life that you want to live. We'll be back.
Listen, I realize that I'm not perfect, but it all really started to change because you judge me for having a problem. No one is going to know that I need help. I need help. I know that no one is going to judge me for having a problem. I realize that I'm not perfect, but it all really started to change because you listen.
Your daughter is having trouble learning French. Do you A, hire a tutor?
Bonjour.
B, enforce a French-only rule at home? Or C, watch some foreign films? When it comes to parenting, there are no perfect answers, but that's okay, because you don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Teens in foster care will love you just the same.
You think getting dumped by text is harsh? Try getting dumped by a tennis ball. My ex-owner drove me out to the woods, yelled fetch, and by the time I brought the ball back, he was gone. Yeah, I was pissed. But the folks at the shelter helped me let go of my anger. I learned coping skills, like taking it to the hole. Boom! Now I'm ready to fetch again. But how about I throw and you run and get it?
We're talking to the beautiful and talented Juli Tapken. What I like about this lady is that she would never describe herself as anything but all those terms that describe humility. And that's what makes you like her. But the thing that I want you to get with Juli Tapken is that she's a woman who's broken through her own barriers. She's broken through those surface things that tend to scare us. We're in a nation today that every time you click your TV channel, someone is telling you what you can't be, that you are not good enough, or you need a pill to fix something. But when you take that pill, it's going to give you a bunch of other things that you didn't need. This is a woman who shifted her life based upon what she heard God say to her. And it's working.
It's working.
It's working.
When you follow God, it's an adventure. I'm going to tell you what, it's not easy, and it's not frightening.
Yeah.
It's extremely frightening. But 365 times, I believe, in the New Testament alone, Cameron probably knows, he says, fear not. Do not fear.
Which means there is going to be something.
Right, that will be frightening.
That's going to shake you.
Right.
That's going to be frightening.
Exactly.
But don't fear it.
Don't fear it. Fear is a sin, and because it's doubt and faithlessness, and all these things that we suffer daily with. I mean, we're not perfect, and every day I get up with a little bit of anxiety and fear, and I just have to lay it down and say, you know what? I can't worry about that.
Yeah.
Here's what I can and do, concern myself with, how I behave, how I speak, who I'm, whatever. Here's what I cannot control, how they feel about me, what God is doing in their lives, or, I just have to walk forward in assurance, blessed assurance that what I'm doing, God's called me to do, and He's really the only one that I'm seeking to please.
Wow.
So, sorry.
Wait.
Not sorry.
Stop right there. He's the only one
the only one I'm seeking to please.
Seeking to please. I personally think that we get so involved with pleasing everyone else that the one who created us, the last one on the totem pole.
It's the truth. It's the truth. And I'm very much a people pleaser, which is, I'm always concerned about women a lot do that.
And it's not good.
Well, it's not good because to the detriment of our own selves, we'll make sure everybody else is okay. And honestly, I didn't realize until I was probably after I turned 40 that how I feel matters.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd push it down. I'd say, well, if this person's upset, it doesn't matter if I'm upset because I can make them feel better and but it matters how I feel. And so that was kind of life-changing for me because it made me be real with myself.
But it's also life-changing for the people around you because when you become your better self, you give your better self to other people. When you're shaky and frightened and what is the word? Disillusioned about who you really are, who God purposed you to be, you're not really of good help to anyone else.
That's very true.
So it's the first, take care of yourself and your time with your Father and lean back into Him and get those instructions so that you can go out and be this fearless, wonderful person that gives to somebody else. It's that place that any person has to step into. But how did you go from fear to fearless? There is no smell of smoke.
I have an awesome husband.
Girl, you better talk. Come on now.
We can do this all day.
We could do this
I mean,
yeah,
I've got an awesome husband. Yes, you do.
I do.
And we are blessed women because of these men that God prepared for us.
Yeah.
And, God prepared him to be an encourager, to be a pusher.
Yes.
He's a pusher.
Yeah.
But thank God for it because I wouldn't be sitting here with you today. I wouldn't have experienced all that I have if Jeff hadn't looked at me and said, let's do it. Why not? What have we got to lose? Nothing. We've got absolutely nothing to lose. And he looked me straight in the eye and said, you can do it. And of course, I'm like,
right, exactly. But we're also taught to go,
right.
And then we get Superman who says, no, you can do it. You can leap these
tall buildings.
What are you talking about? But then you do it for the first time. And when you leap, the whole family leaps with you.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
That immediate family and that next layer and then that next layer. And then someone in the grocery store who sees you just being kind and smiling is receiving because you broke that barrier through that husband.
I hope so. Truly.
And through that father. God, that's so cool.
Yeah.
That's like massive in itself.
Well, and honestly, BJ, that's the gospel. That's what it is. When he says go into all the world and preach the gospel, I mean, that's walking
That's it.
Walk in love.
That's it.
Just walk in love. And I know that it's almost turned into a platitude.
Yeah.
You know, I don't mean that. I mean it that way at all. But that's the gospel. You know, for us to just sit down and examine our own fears truthfully and share it with you truthfully. That's the gospel, and that right there is what spills off into the world.
That is why we have to be so clear as to who we are, what we are, and what we're called to do. God gave you this incredible gift to tell a story as an actor, to tell his story as an actor. You have all of these things, these pieces of the fabric of your life that you can call on, literally, and say, oh, I understand this script because auntie so-and-so, because neighbor so-and-so, because I have all of these pieces of this fabric that I understand that'll help this story come across. And lady, you have been given some interesting stories to play. Talk to us about some of those films that you found yourself going, wait a minute, I can do this role. Not only can I do it, but I have all of the elements necessary to tell my part of that story. Well,
Providence was really easy for me because it's a love story, and I'm in love.
Yeah, there you are.
You know, so that was a great first endeavor. Mission Improbable, I played an addict, which I have an addictive personality. My father was an addict, and so.
And who would have known that?
Well, yeah, I mean,
you get the script,
right. So I definitely tapped into those internal feelings to understand that. And then I did a short film called That Time in My Life, which was about a woman in prison and coming out. Our adoptive family has been in prison. And so I really tapped into that experience. And I understand that I am representing someone for real. I mean, this person in the script or the page might be fictional. Somebody made this up, but there's somebody for real who will identify, and I seek to represent authentically. And so, if I don't have an experience, then I'm going to go find someone who does, and hopefully they will share with me. So,
okay, actors, we're about to go to school. Okay, represent authentically. We're going to start there when we come back. Get your pencil, get your paper. Because it's about being authentic to tell the story. Represent authentically. We'll be right back.
Every year, 40% of all food in the U.S. never gets eaten.
40%. That's almost half the food we produce.
Food waste is a serious problem. It impacts all of us.
And it's expensive. Your family is throwing $1,500 a year in the trash.
We're working hard to put food waste on the chopping block.
And you can do the same at home.
Learn how to cook it, store it, and share it.
Just don't waste it.
Go to SaveTheFood.com.
It's a beautiful day out here. Sunny today with light breezes, giving way to clouds in the afternoon. We could see some light precipitation to moderate precipitation later on, followed by powerful storm-like conditions. 90 miles per hour winds are expected. Authorities are asking everyone, stay indoors.
Come on, that's it. Let's go.
You think getting dumped by text is harsh? Try getting dumped by a tennis ball. My ex-owner drove me out to the woods, yelled fetch, and by the time I brought the ball back, he was gone. Yeah, I was pissed. But the folks at the shelter helped me let go of my anger. I learned coping skills, like taking it to the hole. Boom! Now I'm ready to fetch again. But how about I throw and you run and get it?
get it.
Get it.
Get it.
Get it. Get it.
Get it, get it.
Is she gonna get it, Daddy?
She'll get it.
Get it. Get it.
When you bring home a Goodwill find, you give your whole town a reason to celebrate because you're also funding local job training and placement programs in tech, healthcare, and more. Goodwill. Bring good home.
You know, as an actor, you have to go through a lot of training and, oh gosh, exposing yourself and digging deep. And Julie just said something that really just clicked into me as an actor. It's represent authentically. You can see a film that the actor is doing what I feel like is just the surface, but when you see an actor go deep, you know it. You know it. There's no question. There's no debate. But Julie, when you said represent authentically, I'm like, I almost, I can be very loud. I was trying not to be at that moment. But that is it. You've got to represent authentically. But in order for you to represent authentically, you have to be authentic. You've got to know who you are, what you're about, right. Where you stand.
Absolutely.
And how you'll bring these stories, whether they're close to you, are totally something that you don't know anything about. But you just so happen to have stepped into a story that you knew a little something about. Here's a question that I have for you as an actor. How do you separate Julie from that character? Back in the old days of soap operas, they would say, you walk down the street as whoever character you were, they swore you were really her.
Right.
You've got to separate yourself from that character, yet delve into that character. How do you do that?
There are many different methods, and I've studied a lot of different methods. The method, they said the method acting, where they just totally immerse themselves. Honestly, I find that to be very dangerous.
Yeah.
Because our emotions are gatekeepers. I mean, they're there for a reason, and sometimes it's dangerous to play around with that kind of thing.
Right.
So to me, it's really important that I'm pretending. I know who I am and what my life is. I know, who my friends are, who's not against me, and sometimes when you get into a role, it takes a little bit to come out of that. But you have to do it on purpose. My husband is great at that. When I come off of a set, he's usually right there, and we immediately start talking about our son, or we talk about something.
So you go into what is real.
We go into our real life immediately, what is pertinent to me, to Julie, right now, and we don't talk about, what did you think of this, or how did I, whatever and he's very on purpose about that, because he's seen me in states where, if I don't come back to that reality, I'll wallow in the emotion that I have.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, it's like being in a bad mood.
Yeah.
You're in a bad mood. Nobody's responsible for it, but you're in a bad mood, so they're going to pay for it. You probably don't do that. I've had days like that.
No, but I understand.
But you know what I mean?
I understand exactly what you're saying.
Right. So when I'm in a role like that, it's like it's just that these emotions are at the surface because of this story, not because of anything that's real. And so praise God, I have the presence of mind to be able to very easily switch between reality and fantasy.
And that's so
which prepared me for this job.
Yeah, because this job is putting on another persona.
Mm-hmm.
But the job in totality is walking out of that,
right,
and being able to be who you are.
A full and complete person.
All the time.
Outside of right, because this, this acting thing is awesome, and I'm having a great time with it. But it's a tiny little part of what God has me on this earth for. And like I said, I'm gonna roll with it and have as much fun as I possibly can, and doing it for my King. But if he's at any time says, Julie, I got something else for you. Let's do it, Lord. I learned that lesson.
I got it.
Let's do it.
No, but here are the other things that God has you doing. Not only are you doing films, but now there's this thought of, content development, producing. There's, can we do that? And with you guys as husband and wife, it's obvious that you can do all of those things. But then somewhere between the husband and the wife and having a child, and then there's a farm that comes up, and then we're still doing a movie, and then there's goats fed and milked. I can't even imagine. But now you're doing this whole natural thing with
It's a great lifestyle. We're blessed to live on a family farm that's organic, natural.
I just love
natural methods.
That's so cool.
And so we drink raw goat's milk. My son had asthma, BJ, for years when he was a little boy, onset with seasonal allergies. We've been on the farm now for almost 3 years. He's completely healed.
Wow.
Completely healed. I mean, prayer, of course.
Of course.
God's grace, but also the food that God created to fuel the bodies that He created. It all goes hand in hand. You can't put sugar in a gas tank and expect your car to.
Come on now.
I'm sorry. I know. I'm sorry. Not sorry.
Stop. Stop.
But
love
don't get me wrong. I love sugar, and I'm not. I'm not.
It. You're not knocking sugar.
I'm not
but
knocking
the point
anything,
is, we need to get back to those things that are natural and whole and healthy for our lives.
I believe so. Body, mind, and spirit. God created all, and it's all created to work together. The Trinity. Of course, that's the lesson.
That's the lesson.
And we're unhealthy in body in our nation today. We're unhealthy in mind.
Yeah.
And we're unhealthy in spirit. And we're doctors. I mean, I'm not a doctor. I don't know enough to be a doctor, but I'm a nurse. I'm a candy striper.
But we're the ones that are supposed to come and deliver this help.
Yes. Yes.
And the help comes from the one who made all things perfect, all things whole. We just got to walk in it.
Right.
Once we walk in it, everybody else will get it.
That's right.
So we just got to be the example.
It's like splashing in puddles. It just...
Girl, we're going to splash in some puddles. We have splashed in a whole lot today. I hope you guys have enjoyed. I have. I know we'll continue talking. And hopefully one day real soon, you'll get to learn even more about this fascinating woman called Juli Tapken. God bless you. I'm BJ Arnett. This is BJA Today. Have a fabulous day.